Welcome to Third Eye Roll, where ancient wisdom gets decoded, demystified, and occasionally roasted. I'm Dr. Justine Lemos with Scarlet Trillia, here to serve up Vedic insights, spiritual real talk, and a healthy dose of side-eye. Each episode, we're diving into Vedic astrology, Ayurveda, Tantra, and the weird beauty of being human, with segments like cosmic, current events, storytime with the Vedas and Shastras, UTF is that, and a mystic mic drop to leave you lit. No gurus, no fluff, just the good stuff. Welcome back to our re-release of Third Eye Roll podcast. I'm here with Scarlet Trillia, and we're going to offer you some cosmic current events, some story time with the Shastras, what the F is that on a key term, and then close out with a little practice. Welcome, Scarlet. Thank you for being with me here today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's dive right in. Let's talk about cosmic current events. What's happening in the sky from the perspective of Jyotish or Vedic astrology. We've got current cosmic soup happening. Not everybody, but many of the planets are all vibing out in Pisces. So let's talk about what's happening and what that means.
Well, let's lead into that by just giving a little shout out to the special day that it is today. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, today is a really special day. It's called Akshaya Tritiya. Tritiya means the third day after. In the way that I chart this, there's a few differences in how people do this, but third day after the new moon. So Tritiya is third day after new moon or full moon. And this is third day after new moon. We just had a new moon in a place in the sky called Bharani Nakshatra. And this is the day when the third day after the new moon, where both the sun and the moon, the luminaries that bring light, are in their most happy, most amped up, well-fed places in the sky. That is, the sun is in Aries and the moon is in Taurus, and we are third day after the new moon, and this is called Akshaya Tritiya, and it is a very auspicious, really good day that we're relaunching this podcast.
It's known as being a really excellent day to make investments, and I feel like we are reinvesting in our offering of
That's right.
modernized Jyotish discourse to the world. So here we are on this auspicious day. They say that on this, and unfortunately our listeners won't have a chance to do this until next year, but if you make investments on this day, they are supposed to go well. So here we are.
That's right. And donations are really good on this day. Payments to teachers, all these things are really good to do on this day.
Yeah.
So
what else is going on? I think that we kind of have to start by explaining that we have re-entered into Kalsarpa yoga starting from Pisces, right? Is it Kalsarpa or is it?
Is it Amrit or Kalsarpa? That's always the question. One is upside down and one is the other way. And I believe when all the planets are hemmed between Rahu and Ketu on this axis, this is the Amrit yoga. But I'll double check it. At any rate, there are these two placements where all of the planets get sandwiched between the two lunar nodes, which are named Rahu and Ketu, the north node and south node of the moon, and all of the planets get pinched in between them. And this is called Kalsarpa yoga or Amrit yoga. And there they are creating this hemming effect, which has a lot of implications.
It does have a lot of implications. Without getting too deep into it, it'd be a separate podcast. I think what we could say about implications of a hemming between the nodes is this is what was going on in the sky for an extended period of time when we all went into COVID quarantine and lockdown. It's kind of like getting grabbed between things that don't want you to move or that don't want you to escape your karma.
That's right.
Way of explaining it. It's something that we can explore a little bit in context today, and then maybe in a future podcast, the next couple of weeks will be in this arrangement. It will actually be with this either Kalsarpa or Kal Amrit. And neither one of us can ever remember which one it is, and that is the nature of those planetary energies, is to be a bit confusing. But we'll be with...
It's also a very mystical, very occult-like, mysterious, shadowy yoga. configuration of the planets in the sky. I myself have Kalsarpa Yoga in my chart. So to me, it feels kind of good. I'm like, this is how things should be aligned. But it's interesting, those blackouts, that happened in Portugal and Spain, they happened right around us entering this Kalsarpa Yoga. And Kalsarpa Yoga is going to make things mysterious. It's going to close off or cut out the exterior light so that we can go inward. There is a blindness with Kalsarpa Yoga, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you being the obvious example, but other many significant people in my life have this placement in their chart. There's a spiritual nature to it. And actually, we don't talk about mine in this context because the moon breaks it, but I also have essentially a Kalsarpa arrangement. The moon is a planet that will enter and exit from it because of the speed that it moves. And so
one of my teachers said that we can have Kalsarpa Yoga even if the moon has broken it, because in my chart, the moon has broken it also.
Exactly. And so here we are. The kind of energy that a Kalsarpa Yoga can produce creates people like us, people who want to explore mystical realms, who are committed to working through karmas in this lifetime.
And Kalsarpa literally means the serpent of time, whereas Kalamrita means like nectar of time yoga. And so there are these two powerful alignments of planets that can happen that offer nectar and this like serpentine kundalini energy, basically. Basically, right? Plus, we also have Mercury, Venus, and Saturn, and Rahu all in Pisces right now. So a big stellium where everybody is partying, not everybody, but many of the planets have come into Pisces to have a house party.
That's right. And we've explored this theme throughout the years, this idea of a house, like thinking of a house in the sky as literally a physical house. And I think we should kind of go through this in order. And one of the most important notes on today's chart, or actually the chart of this extended time period with Venus transiting Pisces, is that Jupiter is in Taurus right now. That's Venus's house. Venus owns Taurus. Jupiter has been staying there for almost a year. It's actually going to change signs in a couple weeks. Venus is in Pisces, which is Jupiter's house. So it's like two friends. They're kind of friends. It's like two people who are the amicable coaches of teams that compete with each other. Mm-hmm. And a housing swap. And Venus is borrowing Jupiter's house where she gets exalted, is in her strongest form, and has decided to throw a party for everyone on her team. Because Rahu, Saturn, and Mercury are all her team members. They are basically her students. And she is their guru. And the difference between Jupiter and Venus and their teams is that Jupiter is like a guru to the king, to the sun, and is kind of like a divine benefic teacher. Venus is benefic, but she is the guru to the demons. And all the demons are with her hanging out right now, and she is teaching them, which is a very interesting time. And she was, Saturn was coming out of Aquarius into Pisces. Venus retrograded all the way to 0 degrees and then moved forward again. And it was just in the last few days that Saturn and Venus crossed over Rahu, and Rahu is now at the lowest degree of Pisces, which puts us into this Kal Amrit or Kalsarpa Yoga position. Very interesting, like stacking up and arranging of planets in that part of the sky right now. So we should probably talk about Pisces to get some
we should talk about Pisces and what that indicates, because we have all of these planets coming into Pisces, and these planets are almost like, I don't like to call them archetypes, but they are specific energetic blueprints and archetypes, for lack of a better word. So Pisces is a moksha rashi. That is a sign of liberation and dissolution and merging with the divine. It's ruled over by Jupiter, Guru, who is expansive and spiritual and hopeful, but can also be delusional when overloaded. Pisces is a dual water sign. It's changeable, it's mystical, it's emotional, it's oceanic. And so I think it's really significant that, and we talked about this, that Saturn has been trudging through. Saturn is a harbinger of hard work and karma, discipline, sadness, sorrow, loneliness. It has been trudging through its own signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, for how many years? 5.5 years? 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
5 years, 2.5 each sign. And now, like, having climbed all the way up to the top of the mountain, it is Pisces. It's in Waterworld now, and there is a vast water space. I should actually, it's really funny. I played D&D with my kid, and they just decided to create an entire Waterworld that we will be playing in, right? As Saturn went into Pisces, and the entire world, it's like Waterworld. It's like little floating islands. You have to sail between the islands. My kid has a lot of Saturnine energy, and they're like, oh, okay, we're in the water now.
Yeah. The water now, and collectively this is the most significant transit of the year, was Saturn exiting Aquarius and entering Pisces. Massive transit. We have a few other big ones coming up in a couple weeks. We can foreshadow that. The nodes are changing signs. Jupiter's changing signs. These are relatively infrequent. Jupiter moves about once a year. The nodes move about every 18 months. Saturn takes 2.5 years to cross through one sign or one house. However, it is the only planet that it rules over 2 houses that touch. So when Saturn enters into Capricorn, it's 2.5 years of being in its own house, and then it's 2.5 more years of being in its other own house. Mm-hmm. So this is a very long run. And to be clear to any listeners coming over from Western astrology, we don't consider the planets that are not visible to the naked eye. They're out there, they do stuff, they move really slow. So when we say Saturn's the slowest moving, it's the slowest moving visible to the naked eye planet in the sky that was observed by the ancients who created this tradition. And I don't know enough of the history to talk about when the energies of Neptune and Pluto and things were considered in these charts.
And also, well, that's a whole another topic that we could talk about. I can talk about the history. But I like the image that you used about Saturn having like gotten up to the top of the mountain, taken off the hiking boots. It has like a gigantic backpack on its shoulders. And of like rocks in the back that it is carrying with it. And then it gets to like float on an inner tube down the river with its backpack sitting next to it. And, Pisces is the feet, right? So its feet are tired, and now it gets to like put its feet up a little bit. Yeah.
And when we say Pisces is the feet, this is interesting because there's some symbolism being related to the feet and taking care of the feet, things like that. But it's symbolized by 2 fish that do not have any feet.
That's right.
You're not ambulating, you're not walking in Pisces, you're swimming, you're floating, you're off your feet, which can be really ungrounding, actually. And Pisces isn't known for being the most earthly, grounded, practical sign. It's known for being mystical. It's known for being detached. It's known for being spiritual, things that don't require walking very much. But yeah, we talked about this offline. 5 years of drudgery, trudging, carrying, grinding energy with Saturn in its own house is now, we've collectively had that weight lifted, like taking off something heavy. The responsibilities of Saturn are not gone, but we're not martyring them. Backpacks are really, like when we use a backpack as a symbol in these conversations, it's very closely tied to an energy of carrying things that are not yours to carry on the back of your heart space. This is like
That's right.
Literally martyrdom energy.
Yeah.
And Saturn can make us feel like martyrdom is the only way, and sometimes it is, but it's not a permanent state that we strive to maintain in these traditions. You generally want to move on from your martyrdom.
So a couple of other things to note. It is called Sarpa Yoga because everybody's hemmed between Rahu Ketu instead of Ketu Rahu, which is the Kal Amrit. So we've got that straight. And then the other thing that we should talk about before we talk a little bit about moksha and give a story. Well, we've got a few things. One thing is we have Mercury here in Pisces, and Mercury does not do well in Pisces, and why that is, and then also how Venus is doing in Pisces, where she is at her best. Mercury's at their worst and Venus is at her best. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so maybe if you're listening to this, you have noticed people getting married lately. That is the energy of Venus in exaltation. It's devotion. It's not luxury. I mean, Venus is associated with luxury. She never stops being luxurious, but like Venus in Taurus in her own house, very luxury oriented, very comfort oriented. Venus in her own house of Libra, very relationship oriented, but kind of flirty, kind of going out dating. Venus in Pisces is like, no, that's the person I love. I'm devoted to them. I'm going to marry them and I'm going to love them. And there's been a surge of weddings and discourse around weddings that I've noticed in the recent months.
We also talk about Venus in Pisces as almost like the janitor cleaning, who is like a bodhisattva, who's like cleaning the room, like, but as an act of like, or cleaning the temple space out of an act of like pure devotion. And no one knows that the janitor there is like an enlightened being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, Venus is, and I feel this way. I personally can really relate to this, but I think it's particularly true. Actually, I have a perfect example of a person. My dad has Venus in Pisces in his natal chart, exalted. He has a lot of exalted planets. He is a very handsome man, always has been. He wears Kirkland brand jeans from Costco pretty much exclusively. He doesn't give anything about fashion. He doesn't dress to accentuate his features. He doesn't care because he doesn't need to, because he radiates some level of beauty that isn't dependent on anything superficial. And people tend to notice that. That's a very much an exalted Venus.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, that janitor seems really like mystical and beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah, they are. And they're doing that work not out of drudgery, but because they can be mystical and beautiful in any situation. And they actually don't want to be exalted by.
Well, and they're making the space beautiful in a practical way.
Yeah. It's practical. And it's like Venus in Pisces doesn't need like fake nails,
right,
or lashes, wig, or a push-up bra, or any of that stuff. Venus in Pisces could be wearing a sweatsuit. Ooh, I bought a sweatsuit. Remember we were talking about
right?
this?
So that's when we can do our fashion pick for the cosmic current moment, which I think you have the fashion pick of the cosmic.
I have the fashion pick for the current moment. And let's try and put that in context. Venus is related to luxury. Venus in Pisces does want to buy stuff. Venus loves to go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Exalted Venus will do that, but will make more pragmatic decisions than, say, Venus in Libra, who's like a little bit more fast fashion oriented.
Fast fashion and maybe addicted to shopping a little bit. And Venus in Taurus just wants the luxury, like high end stuff.
Venus in Taurus is like, I think I'm going to spend $5,000 on a white leather couch kind of energy. Venus in Pisces, well, the thing is that Venus is not alone in Pisces. Venus is heavily influenced by her team, Rahu. We just had a direct conjunction between Venus and Saturn. That was last Friday on Venus's day, carrying into Saturday, which is Saturn's day. That might have felt a little bit isolating for some people. That energy of Venus meeting Saturn in direct conjunction in that particular placement is like, if you're in love with someone, you're probably not going to see them. But Venus is in such a strong position that the devotion outweighs the isolation in that moment.
That's right.
That's what that feels like. Venus and Saturn hanging out and making a fashion decision is what I ended up purchasing. I've been wearing the same pair of sweatpants. They're bright green. They were the only color in my size in the strip mall that I bought them in San Antonio, Texas, on a business trip last year, because the AC in my Airbnb was so cold that I couldn't wear my warm weather clothes, even it was like sweaty hot outside. Had to buy warm clothes to wear inside. So I just made a impromptu purchase, and I've been stuck with these ugly green sweatpants that are now all baggy for like
14. I have seen them.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen them. It's the only ones I have.
I know them.
I wear them a lot. And I finally was like, you know what? I can't take it anymore. I can't wear these again, like under pressure. I could wear them as a backup. I can't take it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for a new pair of loungewear. And I don't have a zippy hoodie thing. I'm going to go look for a loungewear set. And I started, to be perfectly honest, I started with some kind of more standard fast fashion options. I'm here in London, there's lots of places to shop. And I was like, this stuff, fast fashion has never resonated for me. It feels tacky. It feels exploitative. It feels kind of dirty. It feels
super dirty.
Doesn't fit well. It just never worked. I would rather buy nice things or secondhand things, but secondhand loungewear is gross.
No, that's gross. Let's not do that.
So I went to like a more boutique type of location and I found the most luxuriously comfortable imaginable tracksuit. And they had it in light colors, and I had a long discussion with the woman, and I ended up buying it in black.
Yes, you did.
Black is Saturn's color. It's also a very practical color. It doesn't get dirty so fast. And this was the conversation. It was like, you deserve the luxury, you deserve the comfort, you deserve the warmth. You should invest in this nice thing. It was made wisely, but you're going to get the most boring color because it will last the longest.
I love it.
Saturn wants things to last the longest.
Yep.
And Saturn was like, there's some options in here, this is cuter, this is more seasonal, this is more flattering. Nope, we want this to endure.
And it's significant that it's loungewear because Venus loves to lounge around and be relaxed. And here's Venus in her point of exaltation in Pisces, where she's going to be mystical, but you have to be comfortable to sit and meditate. You can't be in the evening gown, which Venus loves to wear the evening gown and get dressed up and go out and go to the club. This is like the Venus energy of like party, be happy, like indulge. And then we also talked about, the space of Pisces as it can be meditation or it can be medication, right? This could be all of the friends in the opium den, or it could be all of these friends coming together in the most beautiful meditation place, right? And that lounge suit, it could be for medication, it could be for meditation. And this is the fashion pick. Do you want to drop the brand name or anything like this? But it's black tracksuit of high quality to be worn with all of these friends in Pisces, right?
And Rahu and Saturn both carry the connotation of black color.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was something else. It's funny that we've really honed in on this, but there's a lot of metaphor here. If Saturn and Rahu, and actually even if Saturn hadn't been conjunct with Venus in the moment that I made this purchasing decision, Venus on her own would have chosen light blue, pink.
Oh, yeah. I went in, I started looking at tracksuits because I was like, oh, Scarlett's got a tracksuit. I need a tracksuit for this moment. And of course, I have Venus in own sign. And I'm like, I think I need the light pink one.
Exactly. Because Venus would have preferred that.
Yeah.
However, Saturn is a good teacher because...
That's right.
And they're both... Saturn would have gotten it at a charity shop, at a thrift shop.
Saturn would have gotten it at the thrift store, charity shop. Doesn't care that it has a stain on it. Pure utility, this is your tracksuit, right?
And that's kind of what I've been rolling with my whole life. I've got Saturn in a very practical...
Yes,
place.
you do.
I've got Venus in a very practical... Yes. I've got Venus in Saturn's house of Capricorn. So I just buy whatever secondhand type stuff. I don't care usually.
No, but you put it together high fashion style. But you put it all together. Somebody else just buys it and wears jeans and a t-shirt. You artfully put it together.
I do. So and that's Jesta. We'll have to talk about Jesta's influence on making in another.
So if Mercury, Venus, Rahu, Saturn are all in Pisces, they're all in their black tracksuits, they're getting ready to do their meditation seminar together with Venus leading it. What music are they listening to? And I've got a pick for this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, just before I just wanted to kind of recap this. If Venus wasn't there, Rahu would be drunk and high on drugs.
For sure.
If Venus wasn't there, Saturn would be smoking a cigarette. If Venus wasn't there, the party wouldn't have happened because Mercury would not have communicated the logistics properly.
Well, everybody got lost anyhow because Mercury's debilitated in Pisces, but that's a whole other issue.
If Venus exited the scene, if Venus wasn't hosting this party in Jupiter's house, and we're saying that Venus is the host because she's in an exalted state and she's in exchange with Jupiter. So she really is trading houses. If you took Venus out of the picture, this wouldn't be a very fun party because none of these planets on their own are very social, especially well, Mercury is, but not in that placement. Saturn's not. Rahu's chaotic. It would be like getting like an alcoholic and kind of like a wandering sadhu hobo and like a really smart person who's having a really off day trying to throw a party together.
Yeah, or like somebody who has nonverbal neurodivergence or something, like trying to host a party together. They're like, yeah. So they're all in this room together. And do you have any album picks? Because I've got an album pick.
You got an album pick? I think go ahead. I'm going to give it a thought, but you go ahead.
Yeah. I think the album is Black is Blue by Morchiba, which has all of this underwater symbolism and like underwater sounds, and it's pretty perfect.
It's pretty much perfect because Morchiba has that undeniable femininity, not just because of it having a female vocalist, but there's something incredibly feminine and spiritual about
and
that.
Watery and mystical. Yeah.
Black is blue. Just those words, never mind that particular album and the lyrics of that album. That's the Rahu Saturn conjunction that's going on in Pisces.
And it's in Pisces. That whole album is about like underwater. And actually the video clips that they have like on Spotify or whatever for that, or for the music videos are like her underwater, like and like billowing and like breathing upward. So that's the album pick. I don't know if we have a movie pick for this cosmic current moment. It's probably Waterworld. I've never seen it. I haven't seen it, but it seems appropriate. It also got like really bad reviews. So there's like Saturn is like trying to survive in this watery world.
You know what a beautiful movie is? This is a very esoteric independent film from probably 15 years ago. It's called Alamar, like Alamar in Spanish.
Yeah.
See if anyone has a way to find that online. It's just a beautiful, very Piscean. It kind of carries the energy of Saturn in Pisces. I also, you know what came to mind, and it might just be because of the album artwork, but kind of the energy of the album as well is Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. %. Yes, love it.
Kind of like that baby on the album cover.
Well, and also the baby. No. It smells like that's not smells like.
That's
Teen
the other one.
Spirit. That's and it's not in utero. Maybe it is Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Why is Teen Spirit? No, it's Nevermind. I'm sorry.
It's Nevermind that has the baby on it.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally the Nevermind album cover, but I just haven't listened to Nirvana since the 90s.
I listen to Nirvana a lot because I have the child, but the Smells Like Teen Spirit music video has a janitor mopping the floor and pushing water everywhere. And that's very much the energy of Saturn in Pisces.
Well, and the baby in the underwater baby on the Nevermind album cover is chasing a dollar on a string. That is so the vibe. I mean, I think needless to say, most people know this about Kurt Cobain, big Pisces energy in that person's chart as well. Yeah, we could really go on and on.
Yes, we could. Should I tell a little story here and then we'll sign off?
I think that's
okay. I'll be pretty quick. So I want to talk about long ago, far away, and simultaneously right here and right now inside of each of us. There was this great king named Satyavrata, and he was performing his morning rituals in the river. And he cupped the water in his hands, and then there was a tiny fish that swam into his palms, and the fish said to him, "O king, please don't throw me back, protect me, and I shall protect you." And because this was a Vedic story, the king was like, sure, talking fish, why not? So he put the little fish in a jar, and the next day the fish had grown too large for the jar, so the king moves it to a tank. And then it outgrows the tank, so he moves it to a pond, and it outgrows the pond, and so then he moves it into the river, and it outgrows the river, so he moves the fish to an ocean. By then, it's enormous, and it's just shimmering with cosmic radiance. Satyavrata, Satya means truth. Vrata means like the one who has taken the vow of truth. It's like the one who can't speak anything except for the truth. In the movie Moulin Rouge, they have a talking sitar. that can only speak the truth. I was thinking of that with Satyavrata. And so Satyavrata realizes this is no ordinary fish. This is Vishnu, the preserver, the divine sustainer, taking the form of Matsya, the fish. And Vishnu reveals to the king that a great flood would soon wash over the world and dissolve everything. And we can talk about cross-cultural, like, universality of a flood myth, which seems to be a near cross-cultural universal. At any rate, Vishnu, in his form as this great fish, would guide Satyavrata's ark, there it is, to safety if he gathered the Saptarishis, the 7 sages who are married to the Pleiades, who also come into the systems of star signs in Vedic astrology and are very, very important. But they carry the seeds of all life and also the sacred teachings. And so when the flood comes, Satyavrata ties his ark to Matsya's horn, because of course the divine fish has a horn like a narwhal, and the great fish guides them through the cosmic stormy waters until the world is calm again. And so in this way, Matsya represents the preservation of divine wisdom in times of chaos. Imagine that. The flood, which is the overwhelm, delusion, and dissolution of form. Here we've got the Pisces vibes. Vishnu is the inner and outer guide that carries us through the unknown, especially if we trust. And Satyavrata is the seeker, the devoted, the receptive, even when things don't make logical sense. And so this is this beautiful story of Satyavrata.
I love that.
Right? So
Yeah.
let's talk real quick about moksha, like 30 seconds about this term moksha, because Pisces is a moksha sign. So the real definition of moksha is this liberation from cycles of karma, illusion, and rebirth, not just like peaceful vibes, right? And this is where, especially with all these planets in Pisces, we want to clarify that we're not just spiritually bypassing. That's the medication that we are aiming towards, an experience of embodied, grounded transcendence. That is grounded meditation. So it's like yes to devotional chanting and dream journaling and energy healing, but no to like ghosting everyone and just calling it a boundary.
Yeah. And it's also like, yes to acknowledging the things that are hard and maybe finding some sort of salve in practice.
That's right.
But no to saying, I'm traumatized, I'm injured.
That's right.
I'm hurt, I need to make myself feel better with drugs.
I just heard of this term, which is post-traumatic growth. Super interesting that some people, not everyone, experiences after trauma actually massive growth. And they found that women, people of color, and impoverished people tend to experience post-traumatic growth. And there are like these situations and being able to make context that allows for massive growth after trauma instead of shutdown, which we won't talk about extensively, but it is very much of this cosmic moment is like, can we have post-traumatic growth?
Can we have post-traumatic growth?
Right?
I mean, there is so much Saturn's going to be in Pisces for 2.5 years, so we'll
That's right.
about the significance of that particular transit. It's a big deal. And in the next couple of weeks before Rahu changes signs, there's something particularly important about the exact placement of Rahu right now at like 1 degree. And this is to do with the star signs. I think I'm just kind of previewing this, but we'll give a little bit more talk and context on the nakshatras next week, maybe. And having Rahu in the 1st degree of Pisces is really significant because of the double Jupiter rulership and the relationship between those 2 planets.
That's right.
That's something that is relevant to all of everything else that we just said, actually.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to foreshadow. We've got some big other transits coming up. One last thing on the kind of cosmic report before we sign off is everybody is moving direct. There are no retrogrades in the sky right now. So if you were thinking about getting something done, this is your chance. Go do it. Get to it.
Absolutely. And I think the practice that we can use right now is mantra of Om Namah Shivaya for Shiva, Saturn, and for the 5 elements. We can talk extensively about that particular sound current or mantra. We won't recommend any mantras that one needs initiation for, but that mantra can be used for grounding and aligning with divine wisdom. And we really want through this time to ground into your dreams, especially to use this energy to tune inward and clarify the inner vision and really slow down. There is a forward thrust. Get aligned, take your action, but slow down. So next week, we're going to be talking about this called Sarpa Yoga more, and we're going to be talking specifically about the energy of Ganesh, Ganapati, and the deeper meaning of obstacles and beginnings. And then a bit about Western oversimplifications of Ganesh, and also just Ganesha and elephant energy in particular and what that signifies. So that's where we're at. Thank you, Scarlett. This has been fun.
It's been great. Yeah, my favorite thing to talk about.
Right? I'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Same time, same place. Bye.